C, confidence. R, resilience. O, optimism. W, willpower. N, non-negotiables. Peace, family. My name is Ernestine Morrison, and this is another episode of Beneath the C.R.O.W.N. As you all know, C.R.O.W.N. is confidence, resilience, optimism, willpower, and your non-negotiables. And I have the absolute pleasure of being joined today by Queen Porsha Smiley.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm very, very excited because, as you know, this show is about getting beneath the crown. So, of course, I know you have a crown. You're super successful. You're a travel consultant. Mm-hmm. You're in corporate America, but you also are not shy to the entertainment world.
Not at all.
You've worked in radio, around radio, and you also are on your uncle's television show, The Ricky Smiley Show.
Yeah, Ricky Smiley for Real on TV One. Mm-hmm. Comes on Tuesdays. My character on there is basically a voice of reason for my little cousins. Okay. And they go through the dynamic of me dating a radio personality as well. So it's kind of interesting, kind of.
So tell me the balance between working corporate America and working in the entertainment industry.
The balance is keeping them completely separate. I try my best not to talk about TV at work, mm-hmm. and nobody wants to hear about corporate America on TV. So mm-hmm. I just keep them separate, and it allows me to have a regular life outside of TV. Mm-hmm. Like no one is like coming up to me, primarily because the demographics are different. So they're probably not watching the show. Mm-hmm. So that is like a great place for me because you don't want to be in that environment all the time because it's fake. Mm-hmm. A lot of people only want to be around you because they think they saw you on TV, right. Or, you know, they think they can get close to somebody that you know. So that's how I keep it balanced.
Nice.
Keep them separate.
So, Queen Porsha,
mm-hmm.
on this show, we get really, really deep with people because we all see successful people, beautiful people, people who are really just out there doing it, making it happen, grinding from the bottom to the top. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting to me is how people got there, mm-hmm. what they survived. I want to know what people survived, what rut, what grit, what ugliness they had to get through on their journey to put on their crown. Confidence, resilience, optimism, willpower, and non-negotiables. So you have a very interesting story. You are abstinent.
Yeah, I'm abstaining, yes.
And you have been abstinent for 4 years.
Yes, 4 long years.
And as like unique as that even sounds, I want to know why you're abstinent.
I'm abstaining because there was always something in the back of my mind that told me I was worth more than just sleeping around. Mm-hmm. I never did what my friends did. I was always just different anyway. But more than anything has been like my growth, not to make it spiritual, but my relationship with God has kind of mm-hmm. like made me get it together. Mm-hmm. So I was a virgin till I was 17.
Nice.
All of my friends were like, well, you don't know what you're missing, and well, girl, last night he did this to me, so when mm-hmm. you start having sex, make sure you do this. And
so you felt pressured? Very
much so. Literally came home to my boyfriend one day and was like, look, I go to college next week and I'm not going to Atlanta a virgin, so I lost my virginity, and it wasn't even special. It was kind of like, I just want to hurry up and get this over with. So when I came to Atlanta, started living my life, I graduated, I just wanted to get back to who I really was, mm-hmm. and I was in a 5-year relationship.
You think that one encounter kind of changed who you really were?
I think the 5-year relationship after that encounter changed who I was because that's when I got introduced to soul ties.
Okay.
And
tell me about the 5-year relationship.
Wow, I was 20 when I met him. He was 25, mm-hmm. so I'm young, vibrant, dating this older guy, thinking he's everything that I ever dreamed of. He was super fine, super attractive, but he was the devil in disguise. Mm-hmm. I didn't find out who he really was until about two abortions, 3 years of being cheated on, a break baby, everything that you can think of bad that can happen in a relationship basically happened in that relationship. And then
how did the abortions and the him being the devil and the abuse, how did that make you feel as a woman? Like, how did that affect you as a person, as a human being, as a woman?
I feel like I couldn't live without him. Mm-hmm. I didn't know who I was. I felt like I didn't feel valuable without him. Mm-hmm. When I thought about life, I thought about it together. I couldn't go to the movies without thinking about him. I couldn't eat without thinking about setting 2 plates. And it was just really, really bad to, be an individual.
Like you were losing your individualism.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It turned me into a crazy person. I did things that I would never do normally. I'm not a violent person, but it made me violent. And so after that relationship, in taking almost 2.5 years to get over that relationship, like literally being in love with a man that didn't physically abuse me, but took me through hell.
Mental abuse. It was mental abuse.
Absolutely.
Mental abuse and spiritual and mental emotional abuse is just as bad as physical abuse or sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So just never wanting to ever be in that situation again. I feel like sex connected us in a way that we were not ready to be connected.
So that's where it stems from. So the the mental and the spiritual abuse from that relationship is what led you to be abstinent.
Absolutely. I think that's what started my journey for sure.
And do you think abstinence was the answer?
For me, yes. Just because, like I said, growing in my spirituality, I look at sex completely different as most people. I don't think that sex is just for anything and for anybody.
It's not just a physical thing.
No, absolutely not. It's so much more than that. And on a spiritual level, once you find out why God ordained sex, it's like, well, that's why. That's why you get this physical connection with a person. You don't know, like, why am I thinking about him every day? Or why do I think I can't live without him? Because sex was designed for your husband, and sex, there was no marriage in biblical times. Like, that was it. That was the marriage, that covenant that you have with a person, those pheromones that you guys release to each other, and that's a connection that you will have with you for the rest of your life. And I don't want to play with my my spiritual beings anymore. So when I break down my crown and my guest crown, it's confidence, resilience, optimism, willpower, non-negotiables. Tell me about some ways that being abstinent has made you confident. I feel like abstaining has made me confident because when you don't have a connection or a soul tie to the wrong person, you have more time to focus on yourself. You have more time to get to know yourself, to date yourself, to love yourself, to take yourself out on dates. And all of that really built my confidence. Like, I can literally not be around a person but know that everything is okay, and I don't depend on a relationship or a companionship to be happy. And for a long time I didn't think that I could be happy without a relationship. So that definitely built my confidence.
Absolutely. Yeah. My husband and I, we actually were abstinent for the first 3 months of our relationship. Really? Because we just wanted to do something that was different, and I'm like, you know what, this is soul ties. I'm like, I don't want to swap souls with anybody else anymore until I know you're the one, until I know you're about to put a ring on this finger. And he felt the same way. He was like, I don't want to share my body with anyone either. That's awesome. We were like, all right, we're gonna we tried to do the wait till marriage, but that wasn't gonna work. So we said we're gonna do 90 days, and we did 90 days just to really just get to know each other. Because a lot of people are dating and they're having sex, or they're not understanding that you're not building anything else. If you took away the sex, what else would you have? What are you attracted to about this person? Right. What are you attracted to mentally, spiritually, emotionally without the sex? And so my husband and I, we did the same thing. We were abstinent, and it was very empowering, and it made me very confident to know that you're still coming home to me every day. You're still interested in me. You're still interested in going on dates and being on the phone and being on Skype and FaceTime, and you're not even, you've never had my body yet. And that is very empowering. So I commend you for that. I mean, 4 years, the next person who comes to you, boy, they better come correct. You're confident. It's confidence over here, honey.
And at the same time, being a black woman, we get caught up in this, I don't want to even say it, angry black woman, and we're really strong. And I was raised by a very dominant, strong woman. But learning myself has also taught me that because I'm so strong, I pay attention to that, and I am not like this, oh, you can't tell me. Like, I'm just not that person. And I actually just met a person, and we are coming up on 90 days. Nice. And he brought it up because, like, well, it's been 90 days. I'm like, well, I'm abstaining. But he doesn't have an issue with it. He's so positive, and he's so, what's the word?
Encouraging?
He's so supportive. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Like, and to be with, like you said, to be with a person that has not had your body, but
still is excited about you.
We've been to New York. We are going to Disney World next month. We're going to Punta Cana in November, and we're going to Vegas in December.
Now, tell me, abstaining, what does that mean for you? Does that mean just no intercourse? It means no nothing? Because there are ways around a few things. There are ways around.
I think every year I got a little better with my abstaining. I think the first year it was, I'm definitely not having any intercourse. I'm abstaining. The second year was, okay, I'm abstaining, but if I'm really abstaining, that's no intercourse and that's no head. And I was okay with that for a little while. I don't know if I can say head.
You can say whatever you want to say.
Okay. No intercourse and no oral. And then my third year of abstaining, I was like, you know what? I learned that masturbation was just as bad as oral, just as bad as the real thing.
What? Why?
When it comes to the foundation of why you're doing it. Now, if you're doing it for the reasons that you were doing it, no, it's absolutely fine, and you will still find your husband.
No.
For the reason that I'm doing it, it's no, you're not supposed to do anything. It's better to not even stay the night at each other's houses and not tongue kiss. These are the things that other couples that successfully abstain had to do.
And then so soul ties can be exchanged through kissing and touching?
No, I don't think so, personally.
So what's wrong with tongue kissing and touching then?
It's the spiritual part. The foundation of the foundation that keeps me on my path of abstaining has everything to do with just being obedient to God, honestly.
Gotcha. Well, me and my husband found ways around things for 3 months. We found ways around things.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not gonna even lie and say that my journey is perfect, because it's very far from that. And even in this, that's the realness that I'm gonna express to the girls tomorrow. It's like I'm not perfect, and me and the guy that I'm dating now, we found ways around, and it's like every time I have to remind myself of what the reason is, my goal and my foundation. Like literally, my foundation is what sustains me. Or abstaining would be a thing of the past, a ex conversation. I'm a Scorpio, and I don't know if you guys believe in that.
My husband's a Scorpio, and I'm a Pisces, so we're like,
super
into it.
Very sexual beings, and
Yes.
I love sex. Sex is amazing, and what people don't understand is God wants you to have a lot of sex. And he promotes having sex. He says, go, be fruitful after the covenant.
After the covenant, honey. Put a ring on it, honey.
I plan on having a whole lot of sex.
Just one day.
Yeah.
Just got to get that ring first.
Absolutely.
You know, when I had to look up the definition of resilient, which is part of the C.R.O.W.N, the R, it says to be stretched or bended or broken and bounce back from that. What were some things that you went through in your relationship and that turmoil? What were some things that you went through that you had to become resilient from, that you bounced back from? Things that may have broken you or bended you or stretched you, but you bounced back from them?
Things that I had to bounce back from were being lied to. So that makes you not want to trust people.
Break your trust?
Absolutely. So I went from, trusting people until they gave me a reason not to the opposite. Like, I don't trust anybody until you give me a reason to. So that, I think when somebody has a baby on you, like the person that you're in love with.
So he actually had a child with someone else while you guys were together.
Right.
Well,
we were on a break, but we always came. We were 5 years in. Like, we always come back from our breaks. What do you mean we were on a break? And it wasn't just the baby. It was who he had the baby with. It was like his ex-girlfriend. It was like, wait, I've been with you for 5 years, and you went back to someone you were with 5 years ago. That's
the worst. It's almost like I'd rather you had gone with somebody new that I didn't know than for you to go back to someone you had history with. That's more. It's so hurtful. It like destroys you.
It's like, what has this been for 5 years? Like, have you been waiting to go back to that? Then he left me, and I love him after I heard about that, and he proposed to her after like 6 months. The pregnancies were like 4 months apart. It was just so much in one time.
Your pregnancy and her pregnancy? Wow.
So just my emotions were all over the place. I almost got evicted that same year. I started a business that same year. 2014 was one of the craziest years ever to go through a harsh breakup and abortion and start a new business and an eviction and a new job. That's when I started my corporate America path, and I'm just so grateful.
It's almost like, and I was just listening to Sarah Jakes Roberts earlier about all the turmoil you go through sets you up for your gift and sets you up to walk into your purpose and sets you up to really put on your crown. To walk into that confidence, overcome and be resilient.
Birth that baby.
Think optimistically. Have the willpower to win, to want to succeed, and to set your non-negotiables. I want to get to the end because it's my favorite. The non-negotiables. What are some non-negotiables, some boundaries that you set with people in order for you to continue to walk in your confidence and walk in your purpose and walk in this new abstinence and this new powerful, enlightened woman? Like, what are some non-negotiables that you set with people? Because you've been through a lot with this relationship along this journey. You have to set non-negotiables. It's like the most important thing is to set non-negotiables. Like, this is non-negotiable for me. This is what I want, and I'm not budging on this. What are some things that you have set?
The first one is a foundation, and that has to be a foundation with God. Do you have to believe in the same thing I believe? Not necessarily, but I just need you to have somewhat of a foundation, some type of source. Yeah, who do you pray to? Who do you go to? What books do you read? Like that. I found that I'm intellectually stimulated, so I can't date a dummy. Like if you can't sapiosexual. Yeah, like if you can't have a conversation with me and we can go there, I think Scorpios are deep, and you might find that in your husband. I need to be able to have that conversation with you. Non-negotiables, just stability all around. I've been through so many unstable relationships, and I feel like whatever I'm bringing to the table is what I want from a guy.
Has to be reciprocated.
I don't want somebody that's above me, or somebody I gotta pick up off the floor. I picked enough people up off the floor. There's nothing wrong with picking people up off the floor. I've had my fair share of picking people up from the bottom, and I've had my fair share of dreamers. So I dreamed, and I just need someone that non-negotiable for me. Like, where you at? Where you going? What have you done to get there?
And then the main non-negotiable is abstinence. Like, this is a non-negotiable
for sure.
And I think that is what has helped you put on your crown, is setting this very strict, very intentional non-negotiable. Like, hey, I am abstaining from sex. If you are going to share my energy and be in my presence and want to date me and get to know me, you're going to have to be on that same train. And that is an amazing non-negotiable. And that is what helped you be so radiant and beautiful and confident and sit with good posture and just be, have your crown on and be a queen.
Thank you.
And I love that. And that's what this show is about. That's what we're here for, to show other women that you can set non-negotiables, you can set boundaries, you can teach people how to treat you, you can be resilient, you could have been broken and bended and stretched, and you can bounce back. You can have a failed relationship, you can have an emotionally abusive relationship, a mentally and spiritually abusive relationship where someone may have went and had a kid on you with their ex-girlfriend, which is one of the most hurtful things I can think of. You can go through all that and be resilient enough to bounce back, and be confident enough with your choices and your setting your non-negotiables and your boundaries to bounce back, and think optimistically enough. You're still optimistic. You're still like, I know it's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
I want to be married. I'm going to have sex. I'm going to have a whole lot of it, but it's got to be covered, and you got to put a ring on this finger. And that is thinking optimistically. And a lot of times so many women may have been through what you've been through and don't think optimistically enough that it can still happen. I know so many women that say, I'm done with love. After he did this to me, after he lied and he lied and he lied, I don't trust anybody. I'm done with love. I'm done with marriage. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to entertain it. But you, wearing this crown, are still thinking optimistically enough, like, through God, it can happen still.
Absolutely.
For me, because I'm keeping him first. I've set my non-negotiables. I set my boundaries. I'm walking in my confidence. And you have the W, the willpower.
Yeah.
I'm still working. I'm on the Ricky Smiley show. I'm in corporate America. I've started my nonprofit. So what is your organization called?
WAIT. And WAIT is an acronym. WAIT, W-A-I-T, stands for Women Abstaining in Spite of Temptation. And it's just catered towards young adult women that you should wait. It's mostly centered around self-worth. I feel like self-worth is the foundation of abstaining. If you don't value yourself and you don't know who you are, then you will allow whoever you're having sex to define that for you. And you have to love yourself. You have to know who you are. And so I go through a series of self-worth and all these other things, and then we pounce on that abstaining, girl.
Nice. I like that. Women abstaining in spite of temptation. So through all you've been through, all the hurt, all the turmoil, all the pain, all the doubt, all the fear, all the shame, all the guilt, you were able to still create WAIT. You were able to still be on television, and you're able to still balance television, which is hard already. Yeah. Dating different men and choosing who you think you might end up with. And still working in corporate America, and still the eyebrows and the edges is laid. So, I mean,
I didn't even do my edges.
You
just reminded me I didn't do my edges.
They are still laid, honey.
It's okay.
You walked in here with the crown on, so I want you to hold my little fake crown right now until we get the real one. Crown, confidence, resilience, optimism, willpower, non-negotiable, setting your non-negotiables. Her non-negotiable is, I am abstaining from sex, and that is something that cannot be negotiated.
No.
It's either this, you either take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And that's what gave you the power. That's what gave you the confidence, and that's what helped you put on your crown.
Was I supposed to put it in?
I know, you didn't put it in.
Yes, absolutely. And I thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I was gonna say something and I forgot, but thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Awesome. You're welcome, Queen. All right, and tune in for another episode of Cry.